Okay, so.
All right, sweet baby.
Oh, thanks. We open up on the planet of Odessa 2, the second of all of two planets in the Odessa system, the heart of the Micros system. A dense cityscape planet, highly colonized, highly terraformed, highly business oriented. Specifically, we open on a round of lackluster and mediocre applause from an audience far too tired and dejected from their own personal gambling losses to particularly care for whatever performance or so-called performance they had just witnessed. Through the near pitch-black wings of the stage cuts a brilliantly shining, slightly auto-tuned voice. Thank you, ladies and gents, especially you, ladies. I've been Candy. The pleasure is yours. Good night. Pete's Bar, Grill, and Casino. The colorfully clad source of the voice storms off stage, disconnecting its mic in a huff, but not before it picks up a murmur of fucking wankers. The well past their prime, spandex-clad Candy Sweetwater, or Sweetstar, rather, without breaking his stride, grabs a hand towel off a nearby rack, wipes his brow, and tosses it, along with his mic setup, fake eyelashes, compensating codpiece, and various other performance accoutrements into the arms and chest of a burly, darkly clad stagehand, Roadie Roadkill. Candy storms past Roadie, infuriated. He barks over his shoulder without even looking at the man. My trailer, 2 minutes, bring Eugene. Before disappearing towards the green room and around the corner. Leaving Roadie, as per usual, holding the bag as the crowd, unamused outside, begins to filter out, finish their meals, and Roadie is standing in the dark, holding Candy's sweaty garbs, and tasked with finding Eugene, who I will also give you some context for. Eugene, Candy and Roadie's manager, Eugene Polyps, manager to the stars, or so he'll tell you. Primary clients include Candy Sweetstar and the once great Roadie Roadkill, but anyone with their salt can smell his predatory sleaze from a parsec away. Tall, incredibly rotund gentleman, mid-40s of age, balding, and sweaty at all times. As Roadie kind of stands there, he recalls last seeing Eugene on the other side of the stage, the other wing.
Okay. Roadie will, before anything, as Candy kind of storms off, he's going to look out, just kind of peek out from around the curtain at the crowd. Obviously, he's holding all of Candy's, all of his shit. Just wants to see for himself. I think he did a pretty good job of explaining, but he wants to see that. He wants to see who's watching, and maybe he's a little bit envious. And while he's peeking out, he'll start looking for Eugene as well.
As you peek across the around the curtain and across the sort of stage, your eyes adjusting to the stage light shining in your face, still barely making out the crowd, you notice it is a small huddle of tables in a U formation close to the crowd. A bit of standing room, and then the lights of the casino of Pete's Bar, Grill, and Casino take up the back half of this room, as the majority of people are continuing to pull slots and play craps and try their hand at different virtue games. Only about a handful of tables, maybe 4 out of 10, are filled with couples who are primarily preoccupied with eating. And only 1 or 2 people seem to be standing around, beginning to clear out now at this point. The crowd was much to be desired for. And in fact, something jogs Roadie's memory at this point, a conversation that he had overheard between Candy and Eugene. Part of the ticket sales, if you were to buy a ticket to Candy's show, you got a free meal voucher as well. So you gather that some of the people eating might just be here for that, even.
Just here for the food.
Mm-hmm. You do,
Gotcha.
as you are looking out over the crowd and trying to, it would first maybe manifested in envy, and potentially still does. I don't want to rule it for you, but potentially, realistically, might dissipate as you see.
It does. Instead, that's sort of replaced with this almost depressive, not realization, but reminder that there's nothing. He's in such a position that even the man that he's like working for, there's nothing to be envious of.
And as that sad realization hits Roadie like a ton of bricks, a voice cuts through the darkness across the stage from the other pitch black wing. No, sweetheart, you're gonna be famous. All right, you stick with Mr. Polyps, and I'm gonna do great things for you. You're gonna go far, all right? I never seen a talent like you before. And it kind of begins to hush up and go into a murmur that you are no longer able to decipher from this distance. You recognize it to be the voice of Eugene, apparently on a phone call.
Gotta be Eugene. Roadie will walk over, approach Eugene, still holding all of Ken's stuff.
Do you take the long way around, or do you just walk across the stage?
I'll walk across the stage. No one cares.
Great. You hear one fork drop to the ground, and a guy go, huh? As you cross the stage, but that's about it. You're right. Nobody seems to take notice. And you cross the stage to see Eugene on his sort of sci-fi equivalent of a Bluetooth headphone, just an earpiece that he's talking into, and he continues on talking to some unidentified woman. Yeah, that's what I like to hear. No, 25% is industry standard. No, you're not going to get a better deal, especially for someone who... But I normally charge my clients 35, 45 even, if I don't believe in them. But
Roadie will interrupt him. Eugene.
He just puts a finger up to you and just doesn't acknowledge you for a moment. If I don't believe in him, but I believe in you all the way. You and me, we're going to go all the way. And he turns around and gives you a very, sleazy grin, as if he's like, did you catch my double entendre?
He just groans.
He goes, all right, I gotta go. I got my other number one client badgering me about something. All right, toodaloo. And he clicks his headphone. He's like, Roadie, baby. Oh, you're looking younger every day. What can I do for you?
Candy said he wanted to speak to you.
Okay. And he sort of adjusts his pants and tucks his gut in a little bit more, and he goes, and where did that beautiful son of a bitch get off to?
Roadie will point the direction that Candy ran off to. In theory, Roadie has to go there as well. I'm assuming, considering
he said he
has all
to
this stuff.
To you and Eugene, so.
Yeah, so Roadie will essentially motion to follow Roadie, and Roadie will start walking towards where Candy is.
Okay. So you guys head out around through the wing and back towards the green room, the oh so extravagant green room of Pete's Bar Grill and Casino. It is essentially a storage closet painted green with what you can only assume is lead paint.
Right.
Candy is sat there as you open the door to his green room. Again, similarly lead paint painted on the door that just sloppily says Candy. to label it as
Yeah.
his for the night. As you swing open the door, he sat there at his little makeup chair and table, which is essentially just a director's chair with a hand mirror, as he's wiping off some of his eye makeup, the star around his eye and whatnot. And he goes, "Oh, there you two are. I'm so fed up with this. Thank God tonight's our last night. Eugene, tell me you have something for me." And Eugene launches into a tirade as he's like, "Oh, baby, yo, Candy, come on. It wasn't that bad, all right? This is a stepping stone. Pete's Bar, Grill, and Casino, and then you're playing the big casinos. But hey, before we talk about next steps, why don't we get you boys paid? Right? And Candy reluctantly rolls his eyes as Eugene pivots from you to Candy to you to Candy. He goes, "Let me see your wrists, boys. Let me see your wrists." Which is where, ideally, you would wear some sort of your like compad, data pad, whatever your equivalent is, where you can do touchless money transfers. You realize that he's gonna tap his iPhone to yours.
Yeah. He's gonna use his Apple Pay. I'll let Candy go first, as Roadie will carefully and purposefully put away each of the items where they're supposed to go.
Okay. So you start doing your due diligence as Candy. I'm sorry. Candy coughs up a lung as he's smoking. He's smoking 2 cigarettes right now. And he puts them out. He puts his wrists out, and Eugene taps his, and you hear a little ding of like something has been completed, the details of which you don't know, private to who they're between, but it makes a noise. And at this point you finish putting away the belongings, and Eugene crosses the very tiny room to get over to you, and he's like, "And Roadie?" And he sticks his wrist out.
I'll hold my arm out. Just a distinction, just not really looking at him. I really don't like this guy, obviously. I have my own beef with him from a million different things, but for sure. Reluctant to be here.
He taps you, and you get 500 credits that hits your account. And he goes, "Oh, and to take care of business, Candy, you're all squared away, but Roadie, there is my fee, of course, as your manager. There is the breakage fee from that empty beer bottle you knocked over earlier in the show. There is the smoke break fee, the pee break fee, and of course taxes." So and he taps your wrist again, and you see 500 credits deducted from your bank account.
So he
just took it all back.
He gave me 500, took 500.
And you, having worked for this man under this other man for long enough, obviously it has not always been this way. But as of lately, Eugene's fee and his other subsequent fees, i.e. the breakage fee, you understand what that's referring to. Earlier in the night, somebody left a beer bottle in the middle of an alley, like in the middle of a hallway, and you accidentally kicked it over. It was an empty beer bottle. For some reason, you're being charged for that. But that's far and few in between from unconventional.
Yeah. He's trying to find ways to continue to pull money out of me.
And
is there a reason that... is there a reason that because keep in mind, Roadie is known for, he does his music by himself, of course, previously. Now he's like this heavy, strong guy that's taking care of stuff and gets into a lot of bar fights. Is there a reason that he has not beaten the fuck out of Polyp for these charges? Put him in his place.
Well, that's up to Roadie, but the most obvious one would probably be he is potentially going to not only get himself fired, but also Candy fired as well, which is, Candy's washed up, but you don't necessarily want the wrath of a former superstar on your side, as well as being completely unemployed.
Roadie will step to Paul up a little bit. He's going to turn to face him. He's going to look him in the eyes and, kind of use his imposing presence. Don't you think that maybe those fees are a bit much?
Hey, I don't control the fees, okay, bud? Roadie, we've been through this 100 times. Every time, you make a little whoopsie-doopsie, you get mad at me for your mistake. These are industry standards, friend, and I understand why you might be upset. All I can say is strive for, betterness in the future, like your friend Candy here. But hey. Eugene Polyps is far from uncompromising, we'll say. And before he says what he's going to say next, as you step to him, why don't you make your first check? I think we can probably do. This is one of those things where it's like, I think in Stars Without Number, I'm going to offer you guys to ask to make more checks more, because a lot of the times they're very open. Like if you are shooting a gun from an armored truck while somebody else is driving, you could potentially use pilot instead of shoot, is what the book explicitly mentions. So in this particular case, if you want, you could potentially use exert to exert physical dominance and flex on this man. You could potentially try and use lead, and I might even offer a punch, just because he knows you can punch really good.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess it's a little confusing. Could I make a sort of the equivalent of an intimidation check, but with punch? Is that how this would work?
That's what they would be. Yeah. So when I say you could use a punch check, I'm not saying you're going to punch him. What I'm saying is, he knows you're very handy with your fists, and so you're making a punch check, but you're not actually punching him. So it would be a punch strength check to make this quote unquote intimidation thing, because there's not intimidation. So we fill in the gaps where that is,
Okay, cool. So then I will do that. I'm gonna step to him, try and use my intimidating size/strength.
Yep.
And the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, you're supposed to, I believe, click it, and then it's gonna ask you for a modifier, and you will put 0 because that's just bonuses or debuffs if there are any, which I will explicitly tell you if there are. Otherwise, it's gonna be 0, and then it should ask you for an ability modifier like strength to add to it.
All right, give me a sec. This fucking dog, dude. Okay, so
dog. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So first thing I click on would be
just punch, and then it'll prompt. And then it'll prompt you with other dialogue boxes.
So that's what I thought, but it's for some reason it's not letting me click on punch.
Okay, well, you're probably still in edit mode.
Yeah, it must be. Let me see.
Wait, hold up. Don't click anything. Okay, you should be good now, I think. Yeah. How about now?
Let me try it. Boom, there we go. Yeah, that was it. Okay. And then strength is the modifier?
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, it was really that. It was in edit mode for some reason.
Cool. A 7. And for reference, we're usually looking for a 6 to a 14, with the 6 being like a DC 10 in D&D, and then not even necessarily 6 to a 4. It's about like DC ranges, you know what I mean? Like an easy check at D&D would be a DC 10 check I'm going to ask you to make, and then
Gotcha.
14 is like a DC 30, right? So 6 is something that if I ask you to do something and it's pretty easy, but I'm going to ask you to do it anyway because you might fail. It'd probably be
for
like
sure.
a DC 6, and if it's something fucking next to impossible, then it's going to be like a DC 14. So with the 7, that's just to put it in perspective. not, and usually they go in increments of 2. It's 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Eugene backs up, but he seems confident in his not ability to take you, but in your lack of fortitude in making good on violence in this situation. He feels like he holds more cards than you potentially, and you can kind of see a little bit of fear, but also a little bit of cockiness that never disappears from his sort of persona.
Yeah,
as he
like
puts his hands up.
Gotcha.
And says,
okay,
wait, because this is right before he says something else. He goes, but Eugene is not without, far from uncompromising. So, as a little thank you for completing this contract, and he slowly begins to reach his wrist out towards yours. And if you don't resist, he will reach out and he will tap it, and he will send you 50 credits. And he will slowly reach into his pocket and pull out a sort of thin sheet of it's like a thin metal frame with a hologram in the middle, and you see it's a meal voucher for Pete's Bar, Grill, and Casino. He goes, here's a little, spending money for you to enjoy the night out before your big next gig, boys, and he points to both of you, and he looks back to you, Roadie. And then also a meal voucher for, treat yourself to something nice.
Roadie will groan, but he'll take it. This is his only source of income. He knows that.
There's a long beat of silence as the tension is slowly being diffused from the room, as you hear from behind you, "What the fuck? Where is mine?" And he's like, "Oh, of course, candy." And he pulls out like a small handful of meal vouchers and hands them to Candy.
Oh, small handful, huh?
Yeah, like 4.
Okay.
And Eugene goes on to explain, "Now, boys, I've already booked you your next gig. It's an extravagant, state-of-the-art luxury cruise line gig. You will be living in the lap of luxury amongst the stars for 3 months, being waited on hand and foot in between your shows, playing for highfalutin tootin' clientele, not like the schleps here. And it's gonna be great. It's gonna be just fantastic. I don't know if you've ever heard of this, this luxury liner, something, a little star freighter called the Isabella. It's and he kind of does like the chef's kiss. Roadie, as he says that, why don't you just offhandedly give me a no intelligence check?
Gotcha.
You have not heard of the Isabella before, unfortunately, but he is probably overselling it just based on experience with Eugene.
Sure.
He goes, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be easy. You'll get plenty of R&R in between your shows. Roadie, you're not gonna have to lift a finger the entire time, I guarantee it. And if you do, it's gonna be in the 0G hollow space, alright? So it's gonna be really easy to lift it, you know what I mean?
Roadie does not smile or anything. He doesn't give him a fucking inch.
There is a long pause as he's just smiling at you through his sweaty brow and oversized shades, and he's just like, your taxi for this spaceport leaves tomorrow morning, so enjoy your last night on Odessa 2 for a while, boys, alright? Roadie, use that money wisely. Candy, I'll talk to you in the morning. Now, if there isn't anything else you boys need from me, I'm gonna go talk to a lady about a horse."
Roadie will turn from him and finish packing up all of Candy's stuff, and to be clear, doing it very well. He doesn't half-ass it.
Yeah. There's a brief moment while you're packing up his things, you kind of are putting the last of the things he handed you away and tidying up one or two very basic things before you would, maybe get too in the weeds with it. As Candy is sitting over his meal vouchers, sort of his elbows on the table, his palms on his temples, kind of rubbing them. And you kind of glance at him, and he glances at you. You lock eyes sort of over his shoulder at one point. And he just seems tired for a moment. And he goes, Roadie. He kind of turns over to you and he goes, do me a favor and get the fuck out. I'll handle the rest of this.
Roadie will, just classic Roadie, grunt and get out.
As you go to close the door on your way out, he goes, hey, Roadie.
I turn back.
You look like shit. Do something about it. And he kind of turns away from you.
Cool. Roadie closes the door, and he's going to go over and use that meal voucher.
Great. Roadie heads back around to the front of the house, gets himself a nice steak dinner, perhaps. Surf and turf, maybe.
Whatever
7
the most
baked
expensive
potatoes
thing that he can get is, yeah.
Okay, yeah, it's gonna be a pretty outlandish steak dinner with like strange wild berry confit from Off-World, and some some sides.
Yeah.
It is okay. You have your meal over a
Right.
fancy tablecloth two-top with dozens of neon lights and casino sounds, people cheering and crying and booing and yelling, and coins hitting the floor, and angry gamblers yelling at one another, all sort of bouncing around off the walls in sort of the background as you kind of quietly eat your steak dinner over a candlelit scene.
Mm-hmm.
And you finish up. The meal voucher is of course expired, but the 16-year-old waiter does not seem to care as he looks at it and goes, it's good enough for me. And
Cool.
Clears your table. Where is Roadie off to now? It is early in the evening, as of course Candy cannot book the primetime midnight shows. He has instead booked the 5 p.m. show. So
Yeah.
at approximately now, it's about, after you finish your meal, 7:30 maybe. The night is young.
Yeah, so
Your taxi leaves in the morning. You're in the midst of a busy section of the Odessa 2, specifically. In fact, I have yet to drag you over to the correct map, but the Odessa 2 Cloud City downtown area, a hustle-bustle hubbub of neon lights, casinos, very Vegas Strip-esque, with red light districts, bars, strips.
It seems like Atlantic City, but dipped in gravy.
Mm-hmm. A little bit, yeah. There's definitely nice parts of town. You're just not in them.
Yeah.
Because you wandered out into the street. As you wander out on the street, why don't you give me another no check? No intelligence. Or better yet, no wisdom.
Okay, and whiz.
A 5.
Damn.
Dejected and full of steak, you wander out onto the street. The bright neon lights blinding you for a moment, and you can't help but feel like you're forgetting something as you look around and see a mountainous canyon, sort of wild area as the city limits hit their end to the north. The vague but ever-present glow of the red light district to the east, and the slightly dimmer street-lit section of a slummier, divier part of town to the south.
I'm going to go to the slummier, divier part.
Amazing. Of course, Roadie, magnetically drawn to his bread and butter brand, begins to creep towards the darkness. The not so much shadier, as all of this is relatively shady, but the much calmer, seedier, relaxed, grungier part of town. And not too long into your walk, you're beginning to feel lighter on your feet after the steak digests. The arid temperatures of the natural planet's desert climate mixed with the just intensive sort of smog and heat pumped out from the various air conditioners of these many pseudo sort of acclimated buildings, these buildings that have oh, let's make it feel like the Arctic tundra in here for our fun bar and output tons of heat onto the street kind of deal. Right. You begin to get parched very quickly, and as you are walking maybe 10-15 blocks or so, passing by a handful of drunks, a beggar, a young couple on their night out, a group of sort of punk rock friends wandering around, hitting the bars, something catches your eye. A bar with a dimly lit neon sign called Tooth and Nail. A dull green lettering sort of cuts through the otherwise natural sort of daylight colored streetlight bulbs of this part of town. The door is wooden, slightly stained, and strangely ajar, almost inviting you in. And you can hear the quiet hum, from this distance at least, of heavy guitar riffs coming from the interior.
Fuck yeah. All right, Roadie will approach. He'll go right in.
You wander into this, what is very clearly a punk rock / metal bar after you break the precipice. And you feel strangely at home in what is otherwise a pretty foreign and unfortunate place for Roadie to be in. The interior is a all but too foreign vintage stained wood. The bar is falling to pieces. Loud guitar and drum heavy centric music plays throughout the bar via a rickety and outdated sound system that crackles and sputters. And various large men and pierced women, all adorned in leather, dot the exterior walls of this bar, leaned up against various shelves and stools and pool tables. And a bartender immediately catches your eye as he as you catch his, to be honest. And you see he looks at you, you look at him, and he immediately puts a finger to his what appears to be his temple, but is actually his right eye, which you now notice is cybernetic. This large, deep red-skinned Gracool fellow behind the bar with tusks and horns sprouting from his head. He presses his cybernetic eye, and you can tell it flickers on with a dull red light as he stares at you for a moment. Is Roadie currently carrying any weaponry on him?
I think only a knife. He doesn't have a gun yet.
He kind of scans you for a moment. He gives you a ocular pat down, so to speak. And after a moment of you locking eyes and you standing just in the precipice of this bar, he kind of gives you an upward nod as if to say, "You're good."
Cool. Okay, Roadie will come in, sit down right at the bar.
He comes right up to you after washing a dirty mug with a dirtier rag and says,
Nice.
"What's your poison?"
Your cheapest beer. Whatever it is.
He leans in and says, "What kind of establishment do you think this is? All our beer's cheap." And he pulls out a beer from underneath the counter as if it was already poured. It's too quick, but he plops it on the counter in front of you. It still has a head. It appears foamy and cool, if not foamy and slightly lukewarm.
Roadie will drink the whole thing in a single shot.
As you put it down, there is another beer there waiting for you.
Okay, now that Roadie's had one, the shakes are calmed a little bit, so he'll take his time with this second one, which means he'll probably drink it within about 3 or 4 minutes. It's just not immediate.
For sure, yeah. You're a little less eager. You get the one in you, and you're like, all right, time to settle in. And he kind of taps the bar, and he goes to take a half step away and goes, like, what's your name for your tab?
Roadie.
Roadie. He kind of nods at you, and as he turns to go walk away, he goes, "That's a stupid fucking name." And he walks off to go tend bar. You sit there for a while, sipping on your beer to, a degree, not nursing it by any means, as we've kind of just covered. You tell me, how do you think maybe the next, 15 minutes go? Do you start pounding them back? Do you want to do anything about the bar in particular? Is Roadie sort of sitting thinking? Does he pull out his data pad and start scrolling on the local internet?
Yeah, so give me some, one, can I have some context? Like, how much would this beer be, for instance?
2 credits per.
Great. So then Roadie will take out his comp pad and he'll bring up his daughter's name. And he puts down, he's going to send her 40 credits, right?
Okay. So let me cover this for a brief second, because this is, sure, I guess, important. So within civilized systems and within environments that permit it, there is internet, right? It is usually system wide, but there are interstellar satellites that are like heavily controlled, and like in order to like send somebody money or a package, you will have to go to like a essentially a post office and pay like a small fee. And when I say a small fee, the small fee is, it's like 1 credit per jump. So if she's 10 systems away, which is a pretty long distance, it's only 10 credits that you'll have to pay to get whatever you want to her. But there's no instant wire transfers interstellarly.
Gotcha. Understood.
Yeah. Or same goes for, to a degree, internet, unless it's like breaking news. Like you can get CNN, but you can't get your local news, and you can't just like Google people.
Gotcha.
So it's like controlled what's interstellar.
So then Roadie won't do that, because it would be dumb if he pulls out like a picture of in his wallet of his daughter, because that's not the point. So instead what he'll do is he will, he'll sit back, he'll listen to the music a little bit. I'm assuming it's like a live band playing,
No.
Or is it
it's
like
just
over
it's just over the loudspeakers.
Projected over speakers. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So Roadie will, he's going to scan the bar, and essentially he's going to look for the I don't know if he'll get, do you know Jim Croce? Do you know his music?
Yeah, he did like Leroy Brown and Don't Mess Around with Jim and everybody.
He's looking for Leroy Brown. He's looking for his Leroy Brown because he wants to get into something.
Give me a notice check. Notice, I think wisdom. This is funny. I'll tell you about some concerns I had about this session after we're done. Notice 10. You look around, and not only do you think you find your Leroy Brown, but you think your Leroy Brown has found you. There's a table of about 3 guys sitting towards the corner of the bar. They are burly-looking fellows, almost, not too dissimilar to you. One is wearing a leather vest and no shirt. He has a massive gut, a magnificently long beard, and is wearing a big set of sort of biker shades inside. The other, another magnificent long beard, magnificently full head of hair, rippling muscles and leather gloves. He's wearing a very undersized vintage band t-shirt. And the last one is a much older gentleman wearing a cowboy hat and a red leather vest that seems to attract flies to it to some degree. And that first man, the shirtless vested man with a round gut, has the words. You see, he's eyeing you through his shades. He's making it that abundantly clear he's staring at you. You can tell he's looking at you through his sunglasses. And he has the words Moby Dick tattooed on his belly. Gotcha. And you see he mentions something to his buddies who are occasionally glancing over their shoulders, looking at you and looking back. Through the rock and rollin', crackling sound system, as the songs transition, you hear this gentleman, the one eyeballing you up a mean storm. He mutters something to his friends, a phrase you are probably familiar with, as he says, go to sleep, have good dreams, go to sleep, I love you. Which is one of Roadie's bedtime lullabies from his brief stint in musical children's songs. He mutters the lyrics to one of your songs, and they all start laughing.
I'm going to turn back to the barkeep. When he comes over, I'm going to kind of wave him over. Finished my beer.
Comes over.
I'm gonna need another one. This time in the bottle.
He pulls out a bottle and he goes to slide it over across the counter to you, but then he stops before it releases his hand. He goes, bottles is 3 credits. Breakage fee. You okay with that?
I'm okay with that.
He slides it over to you.
Okay. Roadie will rise. He's going to kind of crack his shoulders a little bit. He's going to take a long swig of the beer as he looks towards these guys and kind of going to get up to walk over to them. But first, in the bar, what is above them? What is directly above them?
I think we'll say one of the speakers mounted to a wooden rafter.
You know exactly where I'm going with this. you already know. So one of the speakers. How? Well, actually, I mean, because of my level in telekinesis, I would be able to pull that shit out, no problem. Anyway, so I guess I'll do that. So here's what I'm gonna do. Roadie's gonna walk over to them, playing it really cool. He's focusing on pulling this speaker out slowly, right? Getting it so that it's almost like he's holding it up and unscrewing it. You know what I mean? Like he's doing this really stealthily. And he's going to talk to them. I couldn't help but notice you were saying something, and it looked it looked familiar to me. Why don't you tell me what that was?
This man kind of sits up in his chair, his gut now hitting the bottom of the table and tipping it in a slight direction towards you and his other two friends, as a little bit of their beer kind of spills out of their glasses. As he kind of postures a little bit, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I was just saying, there used to be this metal guy back in the day, and you know, he kind of had an interesting thing going on, and then he did what all these fellas do, and he sold out and got soft, and he started making these," and kind of looks at his friends, "these ridiculously stupid fucking kid songs that were awful, sounded like shit for money, and he didn't make any money, probably because the guy, whoever this fella is a fucking idiot."
So as he's like saying this, I'm just unscrewing the speaker, and essentially, because there's three of them, the second that it's ready, the second that it's ready to drop, I'm dropping it on Moby Dick, and I'm punching the guy that's talking.
Okay, so Moby Dick's the one that's talking.
Okay. So it's Moby Dick that's talking. So then I'll drop it on one of his jabronis, and then I'm hitting Moby Dick in the face.
I'm gonna give you the handouts for these guys, just so you have them. We got Hogarth.
Great.
We got Red, and we got Spike, which is Moby Dick and the one who's talking.
Yeah. So then what I'll do is I'll drop it on Red. I'll leave Hogarth because I'm gonna beat the fuck out of this guy next. But I'll drop it on Red, and then I'm gonna swing on Moby Dick.
Yeah. I don't think you have your base psychic stuff on your character sheet, do you? Because you have your class ability psychic and like psychic training, which is your foci.
Oh, whoops.
But that's psychic training. But that one doesn't specifically talk about your telekinesis abilities. Because I kind of want to see how many things you can throw per round. I know you're good to do this. I just need a reference for it. How so your effort works per thing moved. I think it's still just in the PHB, but we don't have it here. Okay, at level 0, Psychic can exert force with one hand and their own strength, and you're level 1, so you can also manipulate object as if with both hands, can lift up to 200 kilograms. So this is only a one-hand job. So we'll say you're doing it behind your back. I'm not going to make you roll a stealth check because these guys aren't particularly wary of you. The adept may commit effort for the scene as an action towards an object or within unaided visual range or tactical contact within the psychic, blah, blah, blah. Without further refinement, okay, whatever. And cannot cause damage to living or mobile objects. If you use it to crush, blah, blah, blah. Does 1d6. Can be maintained over multiple rounds without expending further actions, such as holding a metal platform in a place. Okay. Cannot, again, activate this technique on a second object until they release it first. What does that mean? You have to...
Right.
Commit effort for the scene to direct towards an object. Okay, so if you want to use it on a second object, you have to commit another point of effort, is essentially what this is going to say. You can maintain holding something for a little while, or you can just throw something around, but then if you want to throw something else around, it's another effort. So commit one effort.
And how do we get effort back? Because I have 3 currently. How do I get it back?
So commit effort for the scene means when this scene ends, which is probably going to be, let's say, combat, because scenes are very loosely defined. It's not a day. It's not whatever. When the scene ends, since this source of effort, because some techniques are going to be like you commit effort for the day, and this one is you commit effort for the scene.
Gotcha.
So at the end, if you use, let's say, 2 abilities and one is one and one is the other, at the end of the scene, you're only going to get that one for the scene back. You're not going to get that effort for the day back until the day ends. But essentially, when combat ends, you'll probably get any expended effort back because that's going to be the end of the scene. A scene is essentially an encounter, whether it's a negotiation with a business lord, a fight, a break-in mission where you have to breach a compound, kind of whatever, kind of like one thing, loosely defined. So you'll get them back probably after the fight. Cool. So you go to drop this thing on this fool. There's not really. Why don't you give me a telekinesis check?
Okay. Any modifier?
No.
Okay, and attribute, anything?
I'm gonna say probably strength. Makes sense, I think, for this encounter.
Yeah.
Then 8. Yeah, that's enough to rip the speaker out of the wall. Go ahead and roll me a d6 as this thing collides with this dude's head. 4? Great. So you do 4 damage with this speaker. And why don't you also give me an attack roll on this other dude? You can go to punch this dude as well. I'm gonna let you.
Okay, so in that I wouldn't click on punch again, right? Or would I?
It's technically an unarmed attack, but I think there is a rule about
because I remember I was trying to find like punch in this, and I can add it, so I can just like add it, but it's 1d2 plus strength plus dex, or strength or dex rather. So I just added it in.
This is a melee attack. Combat in melee range, normal hit, inflicting damage on slightly attack shock damage. Blah, blah, blah. And it's blah, 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 blah. An attacker's weapon must be readied. No, that doesn't help. I think it's just going to be an unarmed attack, essentially. Yeah, because attacks are different from skill checks, so.
And then at level 0, do I get anything bonus to?
No,
punch? Right?
You just don't get a -1 or a -2 even. So let's see. This is rolled 1d20, correct? Plus 0 attack bonus, 0 weapon attack bonus, 0 skill, 0 attribute, 0 mod. Yeah, so it's just a straight roll. Yep. So you drop this speaker on Moby Dick, who essentially headbutts the table and goes unconscious in a single blow, essentially.
You mean
knocked
red.
Out.
Drop it on red and knock.
Oh yeah, sorry, red. Yeah. And then you go to swing on Moby Dick, and he kind of leans back. Whoa, ho, ho. And he is going to. We're loose initiative here. You just went. You got the first turn. They're gonna go now.
Yeah.
Spike stands up, and Hogarth stands up after him. And Spike is going to sort of pull out a wrench that he has in his belt. And be like,
okay.
You don't know who you're messing with. And he's going to swing on you. Let me turn off edit mode. With a 15.
Yeah, so my AC currently is 13. It'll change when it's my turn again, but it's 13 right now.
It'll change when it's your turn?
Yeah, because I'm going to use telekinetic armory.
Oh, okay. So he clocks you for 1 damage in like the shoulder, stings a little bit, but you're okay. And then Hogarth is going to run in as well, and he is going to go to punch you in the head. Sorry, I'm just adjusting. An 18. These
nice.
Guys, yeah, you back up, and Hogarth blindsides you and gets you in the gut, bruising a rib. As you sort of stagger around now in a 2v1 fight with this man unconscious, with a speaker kind of crushing his head in like he's unconscious way.
Gotcha.
Your turn.
So I'm going to use telekinetic armory. I get my AC up to 15, plus my telekinetic level, which is 2. Yeah. So then.
No, I don't think. I think your telekinetic level is only
plus 1.
Yeah. You're only a level 1.
Okay.
Psychic.
So it's 16, and I essentially have like a weapon, and I can choose whether or not you can see it. So I'm not going to allow anybody to see it. And the weapon, I want to be like brass knuckles. Like, I don't want to like slit these guys' throats. I want it to be something like the equivalent of a hammer, you know, something that, like, it would do damage that would not kill them, because I'm not trying to kill them, but I do want to beat the fuck out of them.
Yeah. So I think that's going to be a simple primitive weapon. A small primitive weapon is what I think it would be, which I think should be a drop-down option.
Yes, it is.
When you go into edit.
Before.
So,
okay.
And if you want, you can make it you can make it a kind of specific, like you can rename it, and you can put like parentheses before it to be like psychically generated. That way you can add your special modifiers to it. If you know, your attack bonus would probably be, I think, higher, because instead of being a +0, it's now like a +1 because of your dexterity, wisdom, and may use telekinesis as the combat skill. Yeah, so you get like a +1 instead of whatever your strength is. Or instead, I guess can you change the attribute to? No, you can't. Just make sure not to add your strength and your not shock damage. I see you just tick shock.
If you want to check it out.
Yeah, so you just tick shock. That's not right. Shock is for...
I think that was already selected. I did not.
Oh, okay, never mind. I thought you added that. Never mind. If it's already selected.
Oh, no.
It's already selected.
No.
Cool.
Yeah, that was one. Okay, yeah, because it does have shock. The primitive does have shock to below 15 AC, I believe.
Yeah, so what you can do in this specific scenario, you can add telekinesis instead. So what we do is, wait, hold up. You do need to edit one thing. So go back to edit.
Okay.
You want to change your skill from punch to telekinesis, because that's going to be better.
Gotcha.
Your punch is 0, your telekinesis is 1. So boom. You change that over, and it'll be more effective than your regular punches. And it'll do more damage because the damage is a D4 instead of a D2. And you're generating armor as well, which gives you a little telekinesis force field that makes your AC 16. Sick. And that's an on-turn action, which, if we haven't covered, essentially is something like I press a button, and you can potentially do as many of those as you want, or as I deem reasonable. So that's not really, it technically counts as nothing for the most part.
Great.
You kind of just flex, commit a second effort, and you're good to go.
Yeah. All right, well, I'm going to swing on Moby Dick.
Okay, you go to swing on Spike. Oh,
that hit him.
Damn. Yeah, you punch Spike directly in the jaw, and his teeth shatter and fly out of his head. He staggers, barely catching himself on the table as he looks up, bleeding out of the mouth, barely conscious. He flips the wrench in his hand and goes, "That's all you got? Lightweight." And do you do anything else?
No, I think that's all. Like, I can't make any other attacks or do anything like that, right?
No, there's other small things like movement, blah, 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 but you swing on these guys, you guys are swinging back and forth. Moby Dick goes to nut shot you underhand with the wrench, and he is stopped by your mechanical telekinetic force. Yeah. Hogarth leans to jump in and physically cannot connect as well. They both look a little worried and confused as it's your turn again.
So I'll look over to Hogarth, who's not Moby Dick. Right? Do I have that right?
Yeah, you got Spike,
so I'll look over
Moby Dick, Hogarth.
Yeah.
Just Spike is Moby Dick.
So then I'll look over at him and you wait your turn, and then I'm going to turn back to Moby Dick and I'm going to swing on him again.
Okay.
I'm taking this guy out.
Yeah. Yeah, you go to swing on him, and he actually kind of drunken master style dodges your blow as his knee gives out for a second. Almost accidentally and coincidentally, he dodges your blow and then immediately follows up trying to swing upwards on you with a 15, which now misses. Hogarth, of course, comes in as well with a 4, swings on you. Both of them just swinging around, everybody just in this bar fight, pushing each other against tables, getting their wrenches stopped by telekinetic fields. Your turn.
Yep, you're back on Moby Dick. I got to take him out.
Mm-hmm.
I have to end him. Ooh, yeah.
I'll do it. He goes to take another swing on you, and he rears back, and you take that chance just to punch him square in the gut, and you can feel his ribs crack beneath his massive layers of flubber as he gets the wind knocked out of him and collapses backwards into a chair and just crumples it like cardboard beneath him.
I'll look over at this last guy. Why don't you sing that song for me again?
Hogarth takes a half step back, but not to retreat, rather just to adjust his fighting stance as he puts his fists up, not one to back down from somebody who's about to, who's leveled 2 of his friends. And he goes, yeah, it goes, go to sleep, tuck yourself. And he goes to rear back, and a gunshot rings out across the bar from behind the bar counter as the Grackle bartender is now holding 2 sawed-off shotguns fired in, simultaneous fashion into the ceiling. And he goes, now, you damn made me shoot up my fucking ceiling. Don't make me put holes in anything else. You drink, you pass out, or you get the fuck out. There ain't no fourth option. And he kind of looks at Hogarth. He looks at you. He goes, are we good?
I'll look at Hogarth, and I'll just, why don't you go on and get out of here?
Hogarth begins to lower his hands a little, as if to say, yeah, to the bartender, we're good. And he looks at you as you say that. And he goes, I don't think I will. In fact, I think you and me should sit down right here at this table. And I should buy you a drink.
I want to do the equivalent of an insight check. Does he want to buy me a drink, or does he want to fucking point a gun at my dick,
He wants to fuck you, actually. I think, See, this is one of those things. What would you like to roll for this? Off the top of my head, comes to mind connect, survive.
Yeah, connect. Connect, I think, is probably the most...
Well, I'll take notice as well.
Appropriate.
Yeah. So
notice could be. I'll do connect because I have 0 on that.
Yeah, so I'll say connect.
Yeah, I'll do
connect wisdom.
Yeah,
I think.
Sure.
Well, I think the way I'll do it is I think I'll ask for a check. I'll be like, give me a notice percept or notice wisdom, and you'll be like, can I roll connect instead? If you think of something that alternates.
That works.
I think I'll just pick my favorite, and then I'll be more lenient to accept arguments. Because that's the way this game tends to want to run things, and I'm all for it. You're not too sure. He's unhurt. His 2 friends are knocked out. Maybe he's a little scared of you. It's hard to tell. These guys, he's like yourself in a lot of ways, visually. And you guys can have pretty tough and hard to read exteriors. So with a 7, unfortunately, he seems to be relaxed a little bit. He's put his fist down, and you know that you were scanned for weapons on your way in here.
Yeah, so I know that because my assumption is that he doesn't have a gun, but he may have a knife or something since I have one. Okay, here's what I'll say. Okay. Why don't you go on and get us a drink then? You know where the bar is. And I'll sit down specifically in the seat that Moby Dick was sitting in previously.
Okay. Hogart goes, no need. And he kind of just looks over at the bartender, nods, holds up 4 fingers, and then he pulls up 2 more chairs to the table. And he kind of just sets them at the side and then goes and sits back down in his original chair.
So he's propping them up despite them being
No, he's leaving them on the ground. He's just pulled up chairs for them.
Got you. Okay. Like for if they wake up, I guess.
Yeah, he's also ordered them 2 beers. So
yeah.
That or he's ordered each of you 2.
Yeah, which, could go either way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then I'll accept. I'll sit there with them and I'll take this beer, possibly 2.
Yeah, and within a few moments, the 4-armed Grackle walks up and hands you guys 4 beers, puts them on the table. And he looks at you for a moment as if to say, like, you got this, right? And then Hogarth, he turns and he goes, you can put that on Spike's tab. And the bartender walks
nice.
off. Hogarth looks at you for a moment. He grabs one of the beers and takes a big long swig of it, downs about half of it in one drink. Goes, I used to be a big fan of yours.
Oh, yeah? That's
still kind of am. Of your old stuff, at least.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Do you know why I made that children's music?
I don't know. I heard you had some falling out with Chaotic Cannibal when you were on tour with them, and maybe it just gave you a distaste for the whole thing. I don't know. I mean, the rumor is you did it for money, but it never really seemed to make quite much sense to me.
It would not. There was no money in that. Do you have any
we
kids,
know that now.
Well, actually, I don't know his name. Do you have any kids?
He goes, Hogarth. Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
He goes, no, I got my balls blown off in the last corporate war about 20 years ago. I can't have kids. Not unless I get one of them newfangled ball regeneration surgeries.
Yeah, maybe someday. Well, I do. I had a little girl, and I wanted a way to connect with her. I wanted something to share with her. So I quit the band and started focusing on that so I could put my energy towards my family. That's why I made those songs.
He kind of sits there in silence for a brief moment and goes, can I tell you something, Roadkill?
Sure.
It's metal as hell. And he pushes one of the beers towards you, like a second one.
I'll down the first, and just like I did before, down the first, start sipping on the second.
Yeah.
Yeah, make sure you tell your friends when they wake up, by the way.
Yeah. Why don't you give me a quick, you've had a few at this point, give me a quick physical save.
Yeah. Oh, nice. I love this.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm fucking well prepared for this.
These aren't that strong, and you know how to hold your own after these years, so you're feeling fine and dandy. You're getting maybe a small buzz, but you're good. You're soaring. Hogarth starts telling you, yeah, of course. Don't mind Spike and Red. They're good-natured fellas, I think, like myself, or I'd like to think. It's just, reputation of posers, and we get a lot of fakes in this bar, and, I think I can speak for them to say they feel similarly to you, they feel similar about you, like I do. Maybe a little disappointed with things worked out, but, Don't let their hard words get under your skin, because we ain't really mean nothing by it. We all like your music. I got one of your t-shirts, in fact.
Oh, nice. See, that's the thing. The words. None of that matters, poser. None of that matters. What does any of that matter when you have a family, or for you when you have these friends?
Well,
the second I walk out of here, none of this exists. It's just me.
Hey, buddy. You say when you have a family, friend. Well, let me first of all, small correction. Red and Spike, there, they are my family. They're my brothers. All right. Figuratively speaking, I'm not actually bloodline related to.
I understand. I figured as much.
That being said, I'll extend the offer on the three of us for the time being, as those two get their senses knocked back into them. If you want, you could join our family for the night. How's that sound?
Well, what do you have in mind? Smash cut to whatever crazy debauchery we're going to get up to.
We smash cut to the boys pouring round after round. Roadie, I'm assuming you're really tying one on with these fellas, yeah?
Yeah.
They're ordering, they're paying. It's their dime.
That's the big thing, is that bar fights don't mean I hate you. It just means you needed to get your ass kicked and then we can drink together.
Yeah, after about 10 minutes, they wake up and they're like, no hard feelings, So they are very in similar disposition to Hogarth, where it's like they learn the story a little bit, they shake off the chip on their shoulder, and they're like, you're cool as hell, man. So why don't you, solid, quick, give me another physical save. As you guys smash cut to round after round, shots. Roadie's starting to feel a little tipsy. Fade to black. Yeah. The boys out on the street, small pints of whiskey in their pockets. They wander over to a small fleet of choppers, grav choppers. However, there's only three. Hogarth slaps Roadie on the shoulder and points to a sort of abandoned crotch rocket on the side of the road, as if to say, you want to hitch a ride? He pulls out a stiletto charge, an instant hacking device that could be used to kind of short-circuit almost any pieces of technology, including hack into the subsystems of an alarmed bike to allow you access to it.
Roadie will hold up his hand as if to say, I got this. And he's going to go over utilizing his skill set and taking things apart and putting them back together to hotwire this machine in order to steal it for the night. The skill that I would be using for this is fix.
Yes.
If I can.
Yeah, that would be my first choice too. I'd say fix. I'll take dexterity or intelligence.
Okay, I'll do intelligence.
You are in the slums. This is not a particularly nice bike. You only needed a 6. You got a 7. You quickly trip the alarm, snip the thing that's making the noise, and within a minute or so are able to hotwire this thing. Not as smooth as it would have been with the stiletto charge, but hey, it saved Hogarth the charge. You rev it up, and the boys ride out. Smash cut 2. You're on the northern part of the city, just outside of the city walls, throwing beer bottles up in the air and smashing them with fucking baseball bats. Listening to old metal vintage classics, including maybe one or two of Roadie's very own songs, via the stereo of one of the hogs, as Hogarth leans over, pulls out a steel flask, and takes a big swig from it. He begins passing it around. It eventually rounds its way around to you. You take a drink?
Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
Solid. The party continues. Give me a physical save.
Ooh,
Roadie
getting worse.
is wasted as Hogarth slaps Roadie on the shoulder and goes, "You got about 15 minutes until that kicks in. Come on, we're going." And he hops on his chopper as if to allude there was something more in that alcohol. Something more in that flask than alcohol. The boys are now attempting to break into a liquor store. Hogarth has disabled the force field Parvis gate. However, a grated metal shutter is the only thing in your path. The boys have reached through with their various wrenches and baseball bats to try and physically undo the latch, but nobody has long enough arms. They turn to you, Roadie.
They don't need them. I use my telekinetic abilities to do it.
A round of applause fucking shudders through this dark, empty, quiet liquor store as the gate begins to open up on its seemingly by itself, and there are pickings galore as the various bikers ransack this place, taking the nicest bottles for themselves, cracking a few, pouring one out for their homies, and doing a little bit of a champagne shower under Roadie at one point. Give me one more physical save, please.
I got this one.
Nice.
Boom.
You are far gone, but you still have memories of your night so far. The hallucinogenic drugs that Hogarth has slept you have by far kicked in at this point, and you find yourselves now 2 failed saves in, a bender and a half into just a few hours. A little bit, feeling strange. At one point, you feel your arm vibrating. You slap it really quick. It stops. It seems strange. Hogarth slaps you on the shoulder. On to the next location. Kind of strange. You find yourself blacking out a slight bit, losing 10 minutes of time or so, as you and the boys are now walking down an alley, and you hear Spike call out, "Oh, look at this fella. We're tying one on, but he's really tied a couple on." As you see he's gesturing towards a passed-out man in the alleyway next to a dumpster, wearing a kind of fine but now dirtied suit. He sat slumped up against the wall, totally unconscious, mostly lying in mud and kind of street water, as the boys are now all closing in to investigate. Like, what's up with this fella?
Okay,
as you get closer,
Roadie...
just to paint the scene.
Okay, before we do get closer, just... Roadie is from a backwater planet where climb is, the first language. Mm-hmm. The first thing he's thinking is this might, just if nothing else for flavor, this might be a setup. So he's scanning the areas around to see if this is going to be a sort of like almost like a rope-a-dope setup.
Sure.
If that makes sense.
I'll say give me a notice check instead of focused on the body and its nuances. Focus on the surrounding area. You can give me notice wisdom is what I think I'll ask for. An 8. Not bad. You look around and you see 0 signs of other life. You see no signs of somebody lying in wait. You don't see footprints in the mud water around this man, aside from just a couple leading up to where he was that are very clearly his. He wandered in here, collapsed, thumped against this wall, and and as you're looking around, you hear Spike go, "Whoa!" And you turn back and look, and he has kind of pulled open the guy's jacket, his suit coat, and you see there is just a mono blade lodged in his stomach.
Whoa!
A mortal wound, a fatally wounding wound, to say the least. This man is not unconscious; he is dead. You see that he's wearing a relatively nice, kind of corporate-styled suit with the side slatted, kind of zip-up suit jacket, the sleek pants, obviously all of it dirtied. He's got a clean cut that's been pretty disheveled. a couple of cybernetics of kind of on his temples and his chin, as well as something unusual, a briefcase kineto handcuffed to his wrist. And it appears to be a pretty sort of high-tech briefcase, like a bio-locked one.
Okay.
The boys are all kind of crouched over him at this point, like, what the fuck is this guy's deal?
Yeah, I think whatever it is. So the briefcase, is it open?
It is closed. It's handcuffed to him with these kineto handcuffs,
still
right? So hard
him.
to break. And the briefcase is closed, and it's got a sort of thumbprint biosignature lock on it.
Can I try and use the dead man's thumbprint to open the briefcase?
Yeah. You part the C's of the bikers. You grab his offhand and press it to the thumb scanner of his.
Hold on, let me in.
And it boop, 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 glows green. Pressure deseals and cracks open just a centimeter or two. You're able to then open the briefcase.
Yeah.
And inside are three. It's sort of like a almost like a pelican case for like camera gear, right? Foam lined and protected interiorly.
Yeah.
And inside are three slots, and each of the slots have an identical black puck with sort of brackets on the side, and a sort of indented circular puck on top of this black puck. The only letters on these pucks read ULF Tech on each of these, and then beneath each one is the word project, and then a series of letters. You have project IT4, I4M, project O00B00, and project B03, O3M. And that is, again, it's ULF Tech project, and then these kind of these things written on them. You notice that these pucks and their design is relatively smooth, and aside from these brackets, pretty featureless, pretty suave. Not like a lot of tech you see nowadays. A lot of tech nowadays has, imagine like high-tech designs in today's world where they put a lot of gadgets and gizmos and outcroppings and concave.
They want you to know it's high-tech.
And this is very smooth, kind of almost oblong, oval, egg-like, with just a few divots and things.
Damn, all right. Being careful to not touch it directly, I'll use my telekinesis to pull one of these things out of the case and get a better look at it.
So this is a good point. You would have gotten your 2 effort from the fight back at this point. So you now use an effort, your first of 3 again, to pull one of these out. Ooh, it hovers above.
And same thing with the liquor store. When I opened the door, I would have used one and gotten it back because it's...
Yeah. I'm going to say the montage was its own scene, and then...
that's what I mean.
But, and then boom, we're in our own scene again. So, yeah. So you got 2 back, you use 1, and then... Cool. That's going to be something that's kind of relatively seamless. I think since you're the one psychic, you'll probably be the guy who has to ask. Then again, the experts and warriors get abilities as well to like re-roll ability checks at the end of scenes. So I think it'll be like a thing of like, hey, did the scene pass? And I'll just have to be like yes or no, because I'm not going to be like end of scene every time probably.
Right. Well, context clues do a pretty good job, I'd say.
Yeah, but I also don't want you taking too many context clues and just like adding spell slots back to yourself because you feel like you had a long rest. Yeah, it's a difficult line about like you're probably right. The rules are pretty loose, honestly, and I'm pretty cavalier with them. Like Connor was very much like, oh, can I take? There's nothing in my character sheet that says I can take photos, but I'm a robot. Can I just take photos? I'm like, yeah, of course. It's like who cares? I'm not gonna make you buy a spyglass. Anyway. You hover one above the air, you flip it around, and as you kind of rotate it in the air, holding it suspended, at one point it becomes flat and kind of parallel with your face, and you see that inner puck on the top of the puck kind of scan your face real quick, specifically around your eye region, and it kind of glows red. And then,
ooh,
as if to say, no, you're not.
Yeah.
Wrong person.
I'll bring it to Jabroni's face and have it scan him, the dead man.
Sure. You hover it over to Jabroni's face, holding it in one place, and going over to this guy to peel open his eye real quick, to just kind of peel back his eyelid. You're next to him, you're peeling back his eyelid. This thing's hovering a few feet away. It scans his face. You see the puck open up, and inside of this puck, as the sort of the scan portion slides aside, seemingly fitting into basically nothing, leaving a sort of convex hole inside of this hockey puck, this donut shaped object almost at this point. There's nothing. Go ahead and give me a
interesting
another physical save.
Oof.
You begin to just hack up a lung, your stoma going crazy. At one point, as you're you start sounding very strange to yourself, just in your coughing and wheezing, and just I gotta 1 second as you struggle to get a word out. A woman's voice comes out of your voice box at one point, a slightly more robotic voice at another, your own voice, and then something that almost sounds like Candy's voice for a brief moment before you level your chest, catch your breath, and calm down as Hogarth is slapping on you in the back slightly. The puck has at this point clattered to the ground on the metal, like a hubcap rolling around on the pavement. You catch your breath, and despite being pretty fucking hammered and on hallucinogenic drugs, you feel okay.
So this thing opened, there was seemingly nothing inside, and then I had this spastic
Yes.
coughing fit.
Mm-hmm.
How certain, I guess, I'll go back to this thing. It's still open, yeah?
Yep. Still on the ground.
I will go back. I'm going to go back towards it, and I want to get a closer look. Is there some sort of, like, residue powder? Is there anything in there that I could have just, like, ingested, you know?
You flip on, like, your data slab wristwatch kind of flashlight, and you look inside to examine it a little bit, and no. There is zero signs of anything in there. It appears to be a sleek metal black chamber, kind of just like about a centimeter or two deep, and maybe about 3 inches wide as this puck that hollows out the inside. And it is just a very sleek, clean black metal surface. No residue, no gaseous powders, no gases, no powders, no even scent of anything off. As you're examining this, you go to you turn around to go and ask the group, and you hear beep 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 as Spike is holding one of these things up to this guy's eye, just as you did. And as you turn around to go, what are you going to ask him?
You guys ever seen anything like this?
Yeah, you turn around, you go, you guys ever? And you see Hogarth. He's holding in his hand, looking right at this dude's eye, holding up to one, looking on the inside of this thing as he opens it up. And you see this gaseous kind of green blob, almost corporeal but incorporeal, liquid but gaseous. Maybe a plasma.
I know. Yeah, like the inside of a lava lamp.
Yeah, seeps out of this thing rapidly like a gas would, and begins to fill Spike's facial orifices, his ears, his eyes, his nose, his mouth. Spike begins to seize and writhes back onto his back, splashing into the rainwater street mud beneath him as he begins to convulse as the other boys back up. And
damn.
And they're like, Hogarth, or no, rather, Red goes, Roadie, bud, use your psychic powers, do something, fix him.
Yeah, I will try and do that. I will try and use my telekinesis to get control of this goop.
You attempt to use your telekinesis on the goop as it is beginning to within a few instants, it disappears within him, right? So you have a very short time frame, and as you begin to kind of attempt this, I'm dialing back a sec just to look at telekinesis, but main action, object or person with unaided visual range. Okay. Yeah, this thing is giving you quite a bit of resistance, almost as if it is willingly defying you. I think I'll need a telekinesis check.
Sure. Damn, who would have thought in the first session with Roadie I'd have to, like, fight, like something is fighting the telekinesis back. That's really interesting. All right. And strength?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not high enough with an 8, unfortunately. You go to pull this thing out, you get it like an inch out of this guy, but eventually its amorphous form kind of snaps its tail off and just allows it, your telekinesis grip ceases on it. You'll have to re-grab it, but by the time you're able to kind of reach out with your mental capacity to do so, it's already inside of Spike, who is now seething and writhing and bleeding from the orifices that this thing has seeped into.
Jesus.
As I think Red is going to do me a quick favor. I don't have Red's character sheet open. Red's going to roll me a quick. Where is it? Can I not roll? Oh no, no. It's got to be. Yeah, here it is. A morale check. Oh, great. Red staggers back and goes, "Oh my god!"
Damn.
And he thinks about running away, but he doesn't. There's a new mechanic in Star Citizen Numbers. NPCs are all cowards.
I love that. I love it. Okay.
Spike immediately, not immediately. Spike, after a moment, stops convulsing. The blood kind of slowly seeps out of his eyes and ears and the corners of his mouth. But his body kind of shuts down and stops. And he lies there inanimate. A deafening silence overtakes the alleyway. I think I have to roll one for fucking Hogarth too, unfortunately, real quick.
Yeah.
Damn. Tough boys. Both of them on the verge of running away, but stagger back away from Spike to not get infected, ? As well. But they look around, they look at the third puck still lying in the briefcase, they look at the dead guy, they look at the 2 empty pucks, they look at you, Roadie. These fly metalhead veterans, natives to these streets, completely out of their element, unsure what to do.
Oof. So here's my worry. Said it's ULF. This is a powerful, entity, a powerful corporation, whatever. My guess is that if the suitcase is opened, they would potentially be able to know. And if one of these hockey pucks is opened, they would almost definitely know. Roadie will say, we have to move. We have to go.
I think they both look at you and look at each other and nod. as if to say, yeah, let's. Hogarth goes, yeah, let's get the fuck out of here.
Okay, I will not take Spike's motorcycle. I will leave that, and instead I will take the bottle rocket, or the crotch rocket,
stolen
rather.
one. Okay, you guys ride the fuck out of there into the night, and this is because, pardon the pacing. I feel like this is a weird part where I'm taking control, and it's like, but
No, please.
You ride off. Yeah, you ride off into the night, and eventually settle down in sort of a safe place, far enough away from the scene of the incident to catch your breaths, talk things over, and eventually decide, as the sun is beginning to come up at this point, it's been swell. Let's probably not talk about this again. And you have a train, or rather you have a taxi to catch. So I believe it is Roadie's time to part ways, as they kind of give you a quick hug. Goodbye. It's been real, brother. Stay safe out there. If you're ever in Odessa and need some coverage, you know where to find us. Rip Spike. Let's not talk about this again, is the general understanding.
Yeah, and just leave all that shit back there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, okay.
And unless, I don't know, there's something specifically else you wanted to do, but that's
no. You're
cool.
No, you're on the money. I totally agree.
Sick.
Part ways. There's no could I be like, here's my space phone number, give me a space phone call when you find out what happened,
Yeah, you can give them your it's kind of like a IP address for your data pad. So it's like, hey, you can send me one of these long distance telecommunication messages if you want to pay to send me a message, or if I'm in the system, you can text me.
Gotcha. Okay,
So
I will
you
do that.
exchange numbers, yeah.
Yeah.
You get theirs as well. So same goes for you. The idea is behind this, the way the communication works, like I said, you can essentially go to a post office and you can say, I want to send a digital message, whether it's money, a video message, an audio message, or just a text message, to like this address. And it'll take a while to get there, and you'll have to pay a small fee, but it'll get there. Or you can just or you can have open phone calls and texts and communication if you're within the same system. Even on different planets, as long as you have signal. There's things like desert planets where like dust storms will interrupt signals and stuff like that. But if you have signal, you can usually communicate within cities and planets and systems, just not interstellarly.
So this might end up just being more of like a flavor thing. So Roadie, the last thing Candy told them was that, hey, you look like shit. Essentially, go take a shower. He did not. Nor Willie.
You're on a bender all night, yeah.
Yeah, but he has to get to the station for this taxi. Are any of the post offices even open yet?
Yeah, they're 24 hours. They're they have nighttime and graveyard
Gotcha.
VI attendance, so you could stop on the way if you'd like.
Yeah, Roadie will stop on the way. And he's probably spent let's say 5 credits because of the glass beer. No, he spent 7 credits, 2 regular ones in a glass, and then 1 bottle, which was 3. So he has 43 credits. So he'll go to the post office before he gets the chance to go to the space taxi, and it's gonna essentially queue up to send his daughter 40 credits, and then thinks better of it and sends her 30 credits, so he still has a little bit of drinking money. He's got a drink.
Great. And we fast forward even more. You deposit that money. She is currently, I don't know, you tell me. We're gonna move real quick. Maps. You are currently in the heart of Mycross territory, right down here on Odessa 2. You can then zoom out from there. You're going on a several-month-long cruise to Saragon over here.
Give me a second. I tried to zoom out and roll 20, essentially shit the bed.
Yeah, you're making a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 stop journey. It's going to take several months. It's usually like about a week between stops, basically, just to the interstellar jump. You're in the hard Mycross territory. You're going into Nova Cord territory. Where do you think Roadie is from / his daughter lives?
I would imagine that he would live somewhere, because these are going to be different answers. Roadie lives somewhere like here or here, somewhere that's a little bit farther out of the way, more of like a backwater planet that is specifically on the map because of the agriculture of which he was like, his family was a part of and like helped with, and he obviously did not want to do that. He wanted to travel the galaxy. His daughter is actually more likely somewhere. God damn you stupid fucking bitch. This, I swear to God, dude, roll 20 when you try and like move around the map. It always goes back and just takes me out of it. Like, dude, for fuck's sake. Yeah, it's so annoying. Okay. So this here, I can't even control it that way. This area here. Okay, the New Alliance of Terra.
Oh, all the way up there? Jesus.
Yeah, I want her to be really far away. But what is this area? Like, what is the sort of nature of this area?
So
obviously,
it is a tertiary frontier world system. They are highly against the over corporatization of the governments, and but however, they are much more disorganized and crime ridden, and like they're doing their best, but they're very like, it's like, this is the rest of these are fucking Great England, and this is America right after it got founded. It's a fucking mess. They're striving for their best. They want to be free and free of corporate burden. But it's out of the way.
Definitely where she is, because she's punk rocking the whole other way, where like her dad is like this, actual punk rocker guy, this metal guy. She is that in her personality. She's rebellious, and she wants to be in the forefront, and she's studying the sort of different biomes and the like flora of the planets in order to find, so similar to what her grandparents rather were doing on that backwater planet, she's doing out here in this new frontier.
So here's the thing that I'm gonna kind of shoot you in the foot with. Remember how I said it costs money to send these packages and stuff like that? It is going to cost you 15 credits to send her money. So whatever you send her, it's going to be minus 15. You're going to send her 15. You're going to send her 15 essentially.
Yeah, I love that. That is a really good, because then that just adds to like Roadie being desperate to hold on to drinking money. Yeah, he will send the same amount, 30, and only 15 will get to her.
Okay. You make it back to the hotel with just enough time to wash your face and balls in the sink and make it downstairs for the taxi.
Yeah, wash my balls with my face and my face with my balls.
Yeah, you crash in the back of the taxi with Candy, who is disgusted with you as he usually is. You reek of booze in the night. You wake up incredibly hungover, make it from the taxi to the shuttle, and in your drunken stupor, you look down at your data pad and see you have one missed call from...
Okay. Yeah, who?
And we haven't established this, but I'm going to just say from one Rose Roadkill.
Oh, interesting. Just keep in mind, Roadie Roadkill is not actually Roadie Roadkill's real name.
Yeah. That's what you have her saved in your phone as.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
She's my little punk rocker. I'm gonna name her Roadkill on my phone.
Yeah.
But you have one missed call from your daughter, and in your hungover state, as you are in your hungover state, and you see this missed long distance communications that she has undoubtedly paid 15 credits for as well, just to make it go through. A number of realizations dawn on you. As you stepped out of the bar, you feel like you were forgetting, or as you stepped out of the casino first thing before you began your bender, you feel like you were forgetting something. And halfway through, while breaking into the liquor store, you felt your wrist and your arm vibrating, but you quickly kind of slapped it into submission before you went back to focus on the task at hand.
Right.
And it kind of comes back to you about your bi-monthly calls that you'll have with your daughter Rose. And yesterday was supposed to be one of those. She leaves a message that essentially reads as following. It's just a voice memo. It says, I know I'm normally the one who's distant and cold during these, but I'll be honest, I didn't expect you to completely forget. Maybe it's for the best. I've never really enjoyed these anyway. I kind of just did them out of courtesy for you, so, you know, if this is the way things are going to be, maybe it's good that we don't, we continue to not talk in the future, okay? For what it's worth, I'm doing okay. I'm healthy. I'm fine. Jade's doing okay. And we're going to keep doing okay, with or without you. So how about you just don't worry about it, all right? Bye, Bye, Roadie. Clicks off.
Cool. I mean, like, awful for Roadie, but, like, cool storytelling-wise. Roadie will just kind of sink a bit in his seat.
As you are sinking into your overcrowded coach class seat, you hear the shifting of pleather next to you as Candy adjusts himself, uncomfortably unable to settle in properly, and you hear a very quiet voice kind of murmur, Roadie, you still look like shit.